반대서 라마는 뭐지? 다게 지구로 변되네. 거든 침배고네 지송데. 무슨 도중으로 제도서. Good morning, everyone. 아, 그래서 아마 전주 과도로. 다디 두스레다. 배나. 먼저 단다. 먼저 롭데나리 곰야나 게시해야 되갈라나. 어느 상물로 네 타두기 대화스나리다 디지스나리 심기 시워스 상물로 되어야 레스로. 아니 디 요어데다 디 정말 되어야 요어데 그래서다 다 요었으나 되어야 요어데 만차다 세우로 레스로. 때 이나디 람 탑람 컨데질레데네 탑구요레스로. 어디 단당이디 탑람 컨데지 그래서 냠렌체나 아무들 디지 연구요레 시바 연구요레 시바 컨데스 탑구요레스 어디 디셰기요레스로.
Last classes we've been looking at enthusiasm and the perfection of effort, enthusiastic perseverance. So whether that is talked about in class or whether one does meditation, the point is that we're all looking for final bliss, final well-being, mental peace. And, that is a reality. But on the other hand, we want that, we desire that. So then the question is, by which method or path do we practice to obtain that final bliss or mental peace? How is it accomplished?
지단디 아니요나 먼저 디 시딜라 다 도뇽년지기로 봐. 타바 톱뇽년지기 미지기 기제 셰바당 타바 톱뇽년이 미다 타바 여르스 라바니라 차바 첨부 여러 와서로.
So in that context then, connecting with a being that has already attained to that state of mental peace and liberation, has already got there. With, conversely, someone who has not yet obtained that final well-being of mental peace, it's a big difference there.
제가 먼저 단데 추체데 다 domba좀는데 그런게 람 타두게 디지 톱제로 랑가데 레제 나 랑가든데지 삼로든데지 따네 말라 시바라송스 어디 먼저 장기요레스타 도뇽뇽이 미지가 랑가 셰샤베딩 먼저다 장기요레스로.
So in that context of Dharma, Shakyamuni Buddha traversed that path and reached the final state of bliss and alluded, this is the path I traversed, this is the road. So if we want, and he shows that, if we want that mental peace, we also have to do that.
제가 카시에게 딱 타바토베당 최초스디 인지미지 야직 타바치고로 아니치고로 인지미지 리간이야 참되고 요러지 삼단계 요래서 된대 말해서.
And then there are those that think for one to practice Dharma, for one to attain liberation and nirvana, they must go forth and be a monk or a nun, or do some solitude mountain retreat to get to that goal. Well, that's not necessarily the case.
그래서 내 로텀나니 야셔래로.
Now, if you can become a monk or a nun and do a solitary retreat, it is best.
이내 먼저 수수 김나라 데르와 지조난 데제 셈시바 두야요레스로.
But we find ourselves in families, we find ourselves in societies, and we have to still pacify our mind.
그래서나 니나나 지도나나 대나 아니 지도나 강에 동에 나도 shake doro.
Yeah.
그래서 동해 당보 동해당 강에 쉐바디. 아니 시바 타바 타야게 고마 당보디. 낭배 슈네시나. 저랑 냠내 고마 당보 뺏살았어.
Right. And why is that? Well, because in the context of society, we see sufferings, we see difficulties. But the first step on the path to being liberated from that is recognizing that in society.
내가 다 가셔지기 소소 경원이 경이 막 원래 지금도 와. 어디 강에 뒤 연구해 말다. 소소 경원이 다 들어서서 다 검장 수술을 다제 채널 와. 검장. 다제시 쇼고야라는 원나만 얘가라 봐. 다 드링에 가르가르쳐서 밀레 펜더에 가르쳐서 계전님 보시 액션디 하고 제마서라 미망고 계전님 보시 계전님 보시 이제
그냥 액션
그거디 로그다 펜더시야 그거 요 로그다 그래서 배 방고라 나 전화절라 밀레 펜더시야 그거 망고 통고더라 이나 저는 망고지 펜더 그거 링크면도 아니 다들 방고래 상황서라 인데지 아니 하고도 다 가셔야지 좀 라고도 들어봐 지 차라 동이야 닥스 싸야 안에 다도 좀 가서 수수 배샤마 대비시 녀자 망부자야 도스 상무 좀 봐. 아니 계좌
장나쇼 잡으시나 봐.
장나쇼 도스 상무 좀 봐.
예.
도스 하고 봐. 띵하 다 띵해 좀 레샤스. 이거는 제나 좀디 좀이 봐. 쉐바디 계정 뭐 쉬어요. 제가 대 마신 아니 요당 말아 봐다. 요아 마다는 다 거의야 여러분. 직발 봐. 되이나 직발 돼야 말아서 지도는 따다 쇼고. 그래요. 아니 직발면 쉬어요 말다. 근데
And in that sense, then, some of the times we don't see or recognize our faults as faults. So what's important initially is to be able to meditate and analyze, okay, so what are my deficiencies? What are my negative emotions? Well, from morning to night, that is our responsibility, because there are some people who speak very nicely from the mouth, but the actions might not be in line with that. And in that sense, you lose the opportunity to help and serve others, to benefit others. This is sad. If you have the chance to help, but you do not do it, that's the one thing. Secondly, sometimes the negative habits are so habituated, alcohol, drugs, or even some people addicted to shopping, you can't get over that. And so therefore the first point that's important is to recognize faults as faults. Because if not, then no change takes place in the mind and one just stays the same. We can see that in society.
And then they say, before we had problem, they say alcoholic, speak to darkholic. Now the shopaholic, shopaholic, and some people workaholic, moving holic, talking holic,
sleepaholic.
Silverholic is good. I think best choice. Silverholic best. Nothing harm, rest body. And the social media, social holic. Right? Oh, this is some of that. Holic, mango, I think. Right? Yeah. 제가 아니, 제가 다 늦어 하고는 당보대. 나 스스로 저보던데 다 전화를 좀 된데 돌아나. 다 뒤져 가서 컨트롤 하거든요.
Yeah.
다 드린 컨트롤 말해. 나와니 터지지.
So it's good to be able to recognize one's own faults of mind, and if someone points out your faults, normally we might get angry, right? But in this case, we're going to say thank you very much.
And you ask another, then another. Usually we upset, No, today you need to start. Okay, I appreciate. and some another, then, then no argue, more benefit, more peace, Just, I think best teacher is your close friend, best teacher. Some people finding best teacher. I think best teacher is you already have. You don't recognize it, you don't appreciate it. I usually appreciate it. I surround some people a little bit tough. This is my best teacher. 음. 대단하다. 근데 아니 따스임게 양조 시디도야게 탐란 야셔디 니들이 가서 오래 다 지난 탐란 먹고 쉬어제 남배 쉬어라 땅에 두슬라위 나가서 놀라 지징다고 지 디자인다고 지 네두스 디요 하나게다 미 신다 디나 스스삼단다라고 네 당고들라 수쌤데 마투야게 탑시 쉬우치가 강에 가르쳐비는 야고베 내주 야고든데 주위네 쌤데 마투고체 냐도네 야고다 야쇼 마파로체 내제 강에 두자 쉬우든데 중도 쌤데 마투고체 냐 쉬워 당보 탐란 당보 되면서 쌤 쉬워 냐야라다 수수 베젠다 델라 탑람다 티케제데다 토픽 첨보레스로 쌤 쉬워 컨데스 냐고레스야 지워데 당보 쌤 시원이야 배전시 당보 들어.
In terms then of mental peace, what would be the best method to cultivate it? And generally, in the terms of Buddha Dharma, there's so many methods to attain that mental peace, many categories. Well, really what we're looking for is to have a stable mind so that there's not too high or elevated, excited, and on the other hand, not too down. And of course, mental peace is a big topic, but the first point is to be able to sustain that stability of mind without getting upset.
How to keep our peaceful mind, very situation, very difficult time,
Yep.
I usually do watching sometimes. This is very good for me. Sometimes counting Oman sometimes too much. Sometimes a little bit of hard situation I too much. And sometimes open book and dealing with the people, watching your breath, watching your breath. And watching your breath is very important. And anytime, sometimes you use your pen, your pen, watching, wow, this nice pen, where's it come from pen, who's give me pen, I know looking people, looking me pen. It's very helpful, just being mind peace, simple things, simple things, simple methods makes you peace. Sometimes, yeah, I think for me, very, 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 all the time I have this together, sometimes I have two, you see, some people see, in Tibetan people, sometimes they have holding this malra, and this, like that, too busy. 계산다 심 시원이야라 당보디 심 시원이야 답시시가 혼자 강에 용거래 혼자 메진나 상상 내단 야고 용거래 안 잠블링 내단 담도 코인디 심투야 주년 담도 용거도 알아요 지도 수수 당보 당에 심디 투 용거도 숨마지베 차 용거도 일 상마담시 셈바디 시워서야 당 셈바디 타다와 상상 어디 탈랑 당보디 심 시원이야 되지로.
So in that context, the first importance is to cultivate mental peace. The methods for doing that, yes, life has difficulties, they come, and the outer conditions in the world can be a condition to upset one's mind. But the first point is to recognize now the mind is becoming perturbed, and one of the methods to stop that is to be in the present moment.
네 니와들라 아니 주제는 삼다로
Yeah.
주단 진 컨디션에 삼다.
The second is to reflect on causes and conditions. What are the conditions behind this upsetness?
안 대가 다 대연배제 다 대배 낭배게다 배제 낭배초에 만샤야 돼 주단 진의 중앙에서 디나라 다 파진 되용어요래로.
And in that light, in context of Buddha Dharma, everything can come down to causality, cause and effect.
네, 당보 수수 내당 강의 전부인데 이제 강의 된데도 삼도 마담에 당보 치기 그거부터서 주버도도 또 주단 견라든지 주버도도 어다 치기 치 배나 신대당의 수분이라 겨와거더라 디베 팬도 전부도 언제 당도 신당 추당 리당 뉴질랜드 근데 아워와잖아 리간이야 또 가도 있는데 아니 신당 추당 페치로기 신당 추당 리당 도당 수분이 겨와거더라 그래서 유어도 난데처럼 지버려도 그래서 유어도 지버지냐로 라 세상 유어도 요인데 다 치기 뭐 유어도 난시 아니 셈데 유어도도 안 단단하게 강에 요데 유어도 유단진 다 유진 가르려 되네 아니 유어도 충도서 도스 삼로당인데 아니 야 배디 가서래 강에 강 셈만데 이제 삼로디 탈론 신다지가면 내야 되도 아니 셈을 쉬워야 셈 강에 충으로 딱 강에 채로 마다야라 답신 도와 건들어
So then it is important to look at, sometimes not when one is going through difficulties, the causes and conditions, but to look at these outer compound things. So think, what is the difference between, for example, a tree and one's body, or water, or in New Zealand, the mountains and so forth? These outer things, outer compound things, are going through change all the time. And it's the same with regards to one's body, and indeed one's inner difficulties are going through change. So in that context of causes and conditions, it helps when problems come, not to fixate on that problem, but to understand change.
근데 이제 samdang ne su sim da ne naza da gangyeng de yoyine digidin de chungben yani gari nan digore ba yani gari yoyina da yabo yoyina da yashero ne da gangyeng ji yoyine 다 낭배 최대 저 강에 동네 시단 janjang 시기요 강에 디 시기요래 미마오죠 나고디 다 동네 시기도
yeah
디 가래서나 그 가서 동네 뭐 되어 인자 동네 시기고요로 데 ngone시나 배야 오래다로 아야
And then, you know, if the mind or if the body is sick, we have to have a method for transforming that, to bearing it into well-being. But of course, it's best if we are in a state of well-being. But in the context of Buddha Dharma, a lot of the teachings are how to bear difficulties and suffering. And then some people say, oh, Buddhism's all about suffering. Why do they speak about suffering all the time? Well, the basic point is we don't want it. We don't want it. So what a wonderful thing to go into.
Yeah. If you know talking suffering, you don't have suffering. It's okay. Then you don't need talk. You don't need think. But something's coming. The problem's coming. You know. Some people at that time we need to use lots of these negative words thinking, and also your experience. You know, we most people, they include the young children, most we have lost and negative situation or problems we already had, you know. Then you're recalling, right? Recalling, checking. Oh, at that time, I have this terrible situation, and where it's come from. You can learn, right? Past bad experience, you can learn. Oh, this time. Finally, due to delusion, our delusion, ignoring, you don't understand what is man and cause condition. Most come from ignoring, right?
Yeah.
If you recognize that, and then in the future you have situation coming something like that, oh, now I need a little bit careful. Before I have this situation, next day I have this one. Then really controlling your emotion, This is very useful. Then you can try another positive thing. If you have very nice, very enjoyable, you very rejoicing, lots of laughing, situation. You remember, oh, where's come from this happiness? I think everyone has most harmony and a little bit trust each other, not 100% trust. Nowadays, each other 100% trust, a little bit harder. Little bit trust makes big difference. If you have 100% trust, there's so many joy you have. I have very trust in my teacher at the monastery. He trusts me, I trust him. Therefore, we have very genuine all the time, most all the time. And more harmonies come from this is happy or joy, recognize harmony, and also someone very care and sincere thinking other means at that time only thinking me, we two person, they're thinking me, and they think, oh, this is very care me, they recognize, right? Yeah, for example, this is, for example, we laughing or smiling, or they smile, or flower, or water, or cup, then it is not become feedback, right? Yeah.
Yeah, there are times when if you like smile at a flower, it doesn't smile back.
And also in dog can't smile back, and laughing. No, I try. Yes, I try to smile, but they do tell a little bit like that. And the baby, I smile. Immediately they show back smile, We are human being. Therefore, you need sincere. We see we are receiving body language, Baby don't understand nothing. They show smiling. They're easy to show smile, A dog, I try dog, don't know. And butterfly, I try one day butterfly. I have very nice butterfly, beautiful butterfly. I like butterfly. And I smell butterfly. Nothing. And dog, nothing. Human being, easy to reacting, right? Yeah, this is come from genuine something. Genuine love, I think. Genuine love. 제가 먼저 미 되어서야지 샴페인게 샘디요나 수수유나 미페절 샴페인 샘 수수유도 파고다 다 샴페인게 샘디 당한서 규유나 면한데 레스다 샴페인 천주 샘들어.
In terms of human well-being, human bliss, if someone has uncontrived love, others know it. Now the question is, do we have this type of unconditional love or not?
세상다 천주게 샘디야 yargedan tablamde 당한서 시고 기생한서
라릴라
짐바 추딤 서바 준주셰로 다 디게디 셰사래 세상 신변게 당한서 tik도 거대보다 신라 편도치 나 신라 편도 뭐에서 제원데 아니 짐바 땅야 추딤송야 추딤송수도 신라 내가 신녀기스로 봐 아니 서바 kom야 다 준주 기생 로자 다 데링한서 가래 근데 삼데 다 심시와 자야 돼. 데링한서 데링내제 된다 숨시죠. 데랑한서 삼대인데고 삼대인데 단다 준주기 삼대기 류드마 도샤가나다 데나라 빼 식쇼든데 여러 와 한서 디마 방아제 칼레칼레 도긴 스르와다 한서.
So that uncontrived, unfabricated altruism, the bodhicitta, there has to be a method to cultivate that. And in terms of that method, we're looking at these 6 paramitas, 6 perfections. Is it mine?
What is?
yes, maybe it's become a little bit distorted. Anyway, so we've been looking at the 6 parameters for that. And you see, because when we train in the bodhicitta, we have to be able to benefit others directly. So we have to train in being a generous person, the first paramita. Then we have to have ethics, patience, effort. So that second one of ethics is when you're protecting self and other from harm, patience and so forth, effort. And now we come to the next one today, which is concentration. And in that context of concentration or meditative stabilization, we're going to go through Shantideva's text, Guide to the Bodhisattva's Way of Life, which deals with this meditative concentration in a vast way. This is the method for mental peace. No. Yeah, I think it's battery.
Yeah, battery problem.
Sim shiwa Thanks.
세상다 삼디 세상다 내 당기 먼저 삼다야 되는데 당고 셈 쉬워서야 되네 유단 견을 삼다 다 뒤중 알아서 다치 매전나 강에 태운데 세상 다지 이모션인데 요에 내가라 아니 이모션 그런 게 뭐라 따져야 돼 따지 좋아 파따지로 파따네 디 말아 된데도 디 바가야나 된데 배전 채우 말아 디 제가 다 주민지 남도를 라고요다 저런저 등상 안아서 디 이모션 스틱 페이지 지기도 하면서 낭배 중내시나 소왕은 유버도 저래라
오케이
소왕은 유에 나네 주민지 남도 스틱이 될래야 봐 등상 등듀기 저런저 시그널 페이지 알아 이모션 페이지 지기도 디 다 칙 단위에 가르치면은 시다 직발에 말하는 셈이야 직 툭제 아니 툭네 그래서 컨트롤 치면 되게 내가 다 초와 하고 초와 문제가 되는데 내가라 아니 그런 게 딜레를 나 강에디 도상마다 이제 파 따제 되는 거 같고 파 따제 되는 그래 얘도 문에시나 데스 국다로 세계 찍니 국다 라도 그래 문에시나 다 문에 이모션 컨트롤 제 이모션을 다고전이 쓰려지는 거란 소리. 나디 예서 다 신데 다 간다로. 디파 lö고 다 간다.
So coming back to today's topic of concentration, we talked about cultivating mental peace and secondly looking at the causes and conditions behind emotions when they come up. In this life there are difficulties, as was mentioned. We call them emotions. Looking at emotions. And then, rather than put great effort into stopping them when they come up, it's just good to check what is the nature of the sensation or emotion I'm experiencing. So we call these, in Buddha Dharma, they are called, inappropriate thoughts. Thoughts of inappropriate attention. You call them emotions. In Buddha Dharma we say when the feelings are manifest strongly and in a fierce way, such emotions are invalid. Anyway, whatever convention you use, whether you call it emotion or inappropriate, invalid states of mind, it is the same. The point is, the mind has become upset and perturbed. And at that stage, it's difficult to analyze. But in reality, if you just watch objectively, the thoughts and emotions dissolve. And really, who's controlling it? Oneself is. So the point is not to cling and to let go.
준비 겨와라 곰자야당 신변 치야다 겨와라 준비 세야디 배전 체와들 준비 스기요 말은 낭배게로 봐
yeah
배전 체와디 아니 먼저 준비 라비나 디게요 말은 배는 먼저
레카
단다데 마자야라 배전 체들 준비 스기요 말에 봐 디 준비 말에 디 zundu sa de gyawala towa chewa de la zongang gyala towa sa gyawala bezen chini de la zundu la yore ta tsikuran piju chi dan ber menda do.
So then it says in the teachings that having delighted in enthusiastic perseverance, one should engage in mental stabilization. Here, when we talk about enthusiasm or effort, it is that which delights in virtue. It's not effort about any old thing, like to put effort into war. That does not define effort or enthusiasm. It has to be aligned with virtue, delighting in virtue. Yeah, so what we're saying is that effort and enthusiastic perseverance, different. So as the text says, then having cultivated enthusiasm for virtue, place that virtuous mind single-pointedly. Concentration. So that's not the same, the difference between placing the mind on virtue and placing the mind on an object like wind or light or something. It's not the same. Well, it is said, certainly as a reference object, a focal object, you can place the mind on any phenomena because stabilizing the mind can work like that. However,
아니 지 글로벌 지기 가려있는 심 템포도야 탑란라 아니 수수 내가 지기요디 셰베 제너로 봐 배는가 단디 내가 지기요 저랑 배는 라자 배샤시도 내가 지기요나 어디 나랑게 체대에서나 나랑게 낭미기 체대로 봐 낭미 체대 예 부구 체대 아니 예 도구 도모 체대 아니 저랑 수수 강바시 개구요네로 봐 강바시 개구요네 단도도 지난데 이거 때 멍방하는 시스나나인데 미신다지 비주치아이 근데 상당 여러 건들 봐 근데 상당 제 콜라 콘스티튜션 때 여러 대 최세야도 그 상로지 군론데 바 비자자마 잡지거나 아니 얘나 아니 스스 칸 대바데 제바데 된다 요거 제는데 아니 meaningful life said 다 메지 된다 덴버사데 차용고요 그래서
in that context then as beginners we engage in work and that is our path. We have to know, have awareness around that work so that when you are engaged in making a living, one is not just doing it for oneself, but one is doing it for one's family, one's friends, or even in the context of, oh, I want to build a house to use it, but thinking that when you die, someone else can use it. So everything comes down to one's vast motivation in terms of Dharma to make a meaningful life.
I usually thinking I live the Sandra's house. I do some mess up to cleaning and because look after because one day I'm not stay, some other people stay there, they need use. Sometimes they send lights all turn open or on and are coming down turn off. Cause waste money, you know. Thinking something just simple thing we can do. We don't need big thing, you know. Small thing you can do, you have lots enjoy, you know. Oh, I did something here more meaningful. Most people think of big project. You lost this small thing. And then very problem, life is very hard. Well, just on Chinju도 먼저 남미던 게 말해서 다보야고죠. 미 강변한 데는 짱마서 도저로 왔다. 최지야 도저 이제 고속으로 만들어.
So don't disregard the small details. Own one's environment well, cleaning and so forth. And when one does that, this is the beginning of Dharma. Yeah, as beginners, that's where we start, no?
세상 뒤인데 당저 이니 띵이질라네. 다 심 계획을 샤도이나 아니 펜도니래. 펜도 망고여다. 개와 체인도 소남상. 개벽은 심 샤는데 손남 사요. 아니 심 시원 내는데 심 요도고요 말이야. 아니 대체는데 심 템포 차로. 심 템포 차도 아니 심 템포 차는데 아니 셈바데 시바요나 르데고도 안 하죠. 아니 칼라도 여보 사도고도. 아니 계좌야 뭐 시에도 니에 우쿠도다. 펜도 쉬지도 알아.
Yeah.
빼면서 펜도 저 심 시원냐 도이나다 할래와. 펜도 전부 쉬어래다.
So then cultivate single-pointed nature of mind by focusing on virtue. This has tremendous benefit. One or two actually many benefits. One is that you accumulate merit or positive spiritual energy. Secondly, the mind is stable, the mind has mental peace, it's not distracted. And then the body is healthy as a result. You can eat food well and sleep well. Oh, mental peace has so many benefits. Let's meditate now.
다다 뭐 굴론데 아니 이마 들리는 시에네 당고 수수수 따다야 보체 수수를 교양 가려고 시에체 진내 중에 규가 단계 다 들리는 시 셈바 다 셈바 상부쳐야 돼 개좀 쉬어라 셈바 상부치기 당고 굴론 제 캘렌 제제제다 아니 감사질 당아 캘렌 전자체는 지금도 당아 찍 적어도서 네 지금 내용 거래로 당고 띠빼미스 개점으로도 당고 굴론 제 캘렌 제 나는 밀 편도 지금 밀 편도 지 하는 거네 편도 제 그거 질리도 딱 그거 야고 실도 세네 거배 로봇이야 강에 매우 차야 된대 연구요로
First, we need to set our motivation that today one will come to recognize and be able to change one's faults and cultivate a warm heart. And not only enough to constantly resolve to be responsible for others, but actually to affect it, to do it. So first you're thinking, how can I help? How can I help? But then when the opportunity comes, you actually own it, you do it. Yeah, so just cultivate that from today. I will cultivate that warm-hearted approach.
당저 드린 내주야니 가르쳐 뭐이네 셈바 상부디 르당메 좀 캘렌제로 담자체로
Now making the resolve, whatever comes up in this life, be it good or bad, not to relinquish that attitude of warmth.
다 가오 검라 나랑 줄을 텐데 셈바 누가 침보지 오늘다 신병 있으면 사야들 누가 쳐야 말이다 셈가 난게 누가 쳐실직디 신병 있으면 누가 쳐면 김세 가서 될라드네 라한데와 신데와 라셰로 좀 상마 대화 연구 여러 봐 진짜 텐데게 셈지 당아 줄을 유 스트링 유 가오 검라.
Now it's good to rejoice that one's mind has the potency of that altruism, kind-hearted approach. And amongst all states of mind, this is the most powerful. Well, it is, isn't it? Because out of a mind of uncontrived altruism, benefit self and other, and well-being ensues. So rejoice in that.
당저 우중 검색인데로 다들라 주 개바 정부대 다디 당기셔나 시리 주미진남도 가야 다 탑시 야셔되려다 우중 들어 제가 우디에다 당당 좀 면다여다 우간났다 그래서 냠낸 셰비는 우중간에 차상 타르와 대간에 두에 대베서 저다 와 참마 제가 당봉한서 우중로 시험바체네로 우릉부츠 상상랑저 우단야 템바체네 아니 직도가 나야당 고나야당 근데 용거도 우디 강장 당연히 이제 도가 나야는 용어로 오지 아무마도 도가 되는다고요 우간을 상다 우디 차상 당연히 배진셔도 배진 도가 나야 돼 용어로 보여야 돼
되게.
개와
알레온.
개와 나야 돼 아무마도 되나고요 돼 제가 펜도 쉽지 유대바지레샤스 제가 수고 대단래 펜도요 셈란다 유대요다 셈바 시와차야로 제가 당무 우릉 수단지 셰베잖아 우릉 수 단계에서 우파 단계에 하고와 신 다게 되고
Now beginning breathing exercise, meditation, make sure the posture is upright. We talked about thoughts that are invalid, thoughts of inappropriate attention. This is the best method to stop those. In fact, there are so many types of ways of even watching breath. One can be liberated by that. But first, recognize, and also by understanding, just recognizing breath at first is the point. Just recognizing, being aware of one's breath and not forgetting that. And because sometimes I noticed that if you get tight, like neck and shoulders, you get, because you forget the breath, you get so much tension up there. So the breath can benefit relaxing that on a physical level, not even need to mention how it cultivates mental peace. So just recognizing breathing exercise. Now I'm breathing in, now I'm breathing out.
다 옥주 태양도 믹스에 직 뉴바 사바드네 다 최근에는 진랍스가 요리로 그래서 다 진랍스야 돼 대화를 하려고 요리야 대화대 데스젤 내려와요 말해 뉴바 다 딩두기 계시잖아 에너지 인지라고도 나 에너지도 간대 에너지라고 하면다 근데 뉴바 사바드데 레소 팀 기도게 류이 파지 류를 내놔서 되네 그저 봐 싫어요 심기 남다다 톡바다 텐데 봐 시제 뒤독에는 우파단도 그저 봐 튼제 류양 되고 심이야 장마 차서 튼제 디지지 스스스스 장마 소르미 미스스 장마 소도 말
On the in-breath, on the inhalation, then reflecting one has now a potency fresh. One could call it a blessing, whether one sees it as a blessing depends on one's conviction and faith. Not easy to cultivate stably. In a modern sense, you call it energy. Well, whatever type of energy that is another matter. But just thinking that this new potency and dependence on pervading the body, all physical sickness is dispelled, and then the mind is free of doubt, anxiety, worry, and becomes peaceful. The body is now blissful, the mind is clean and clear. This is something you can do for yourself individually. No one can do it for you.
다 수수 류에 되고 시면 장마 차서 전제 이지치고 그래서
Body is now blissful, mind is clear, have conviction in that.
다는에다 우통하시다. 우동아데 당 시바치. 장가 인추 당파 당 시스나 장가점. 그래서 장가 뉴스 자직사고야 저러. 건조까지 사바든데 유나 장가 숨제시 나스죠. 야 삼샤 양죠. 다 된데 진짜 쪽대 원인데 도와 저런서 장가야 뉴스 자직사고야. 뉴스 자직레스는 마야 0 레고 사고야. 레고 레스는 대내가라. 수수 심디 컨디션도 따나 되게 요래로. 심디 컨디션도 따다. 오늘 대내가라. 시와당 배 가고 셈보 잠보. 근데 연구요래다. 될 냠뇨 담는다 연구로 봐. 수수 곰 주름 부자니 있는 냠뇨 담는 곰 맞아나는 냠뇨에 요머로. 수수 냠뇨를 바기. 다 탑란도 좀 먼저 시에서로 왔다. 수수 냠뇨 가르쳐 주면서 돼. 더다 수수 곰 잠마자를 알레기요래. 곰 잠나니 냠뇨담으로 연구를 곰 맞아나니 요 말에 어디다.
Now, being aware of the shorter breaths, inhalation, exhalation, and once one has recognized just that, begin to count the cycles of breath, inhalation, exhalation. Now I'm breathing in, now I'm breathing out. We will count up to 21 of those. For those that are new and are not used to it, you can just do 3, 4, or 5 cycles and then take a break and then do another 4 or 5. For those of you who have been coming more consistently, it is okay to count up to 21 cycles and then reverse back down to 0. Once you reach back down to 0 in terms of count, then just watch the mind. How is it? And observing mind's peace, mind's quiet, that mind is smooth. And this, in that notion of mind's quietude, things will come up, experiences will come up. If you put in the effort through meditation, you will get these experiences. If not, you will not. So in short, the path has been set forth. Whether or not you gain the experiences is up to you.
야, 다 우디 수부 차장나라. 저 저거에 봤습니다. 네, 가와 팀 누구도 선무다 당고 때지. uk주 당기 우기 uk주 당원지 소화지 리그도
Yeah.
티시어지 간단질로 우코랑 베파베지 셈나라 팀베소라 수분나라 파 예베 소르던데 연구도는 다예간라 파제스도 제 대제 타마들던데 도용디 다 가셔라니 냠뇨 연구여러 당어야 차 세베 차 외그란신인데 연구여래 디메너의 묘바체네 당에 수분나데 외그란신 디양아니 다가서 외전 많이 봐 아니 배 대화 수신나라 대화 하나도 대화 근데 디에베 수수베 셈 수구 당말라 차바나지 근데지 다들라 셈 외그란신 상로 당쇼아스 근데 외그란신디 아니 셴베 찬죽 셈 모인 텐제 아니 데스데 셈 냠바 냠샤 디간 데스데 투나야고 요레스
Now, being aware of breath, where does it dissipate and dissolve within the body? There is a sensation of breath within the body. Allow the mind to be aware of that dissolution of breath within the body. Mind follows breath. And then, being aware of that dissolution, there is an experience of clarity, luminosity, and knowing. One can have that experience. If not, one can contrive it. That mind is in the nature of clarity, clear light, and that the body is blissful, pervading the body. This is the nature of it. And the nature of one's mind in clear light is not just any type of light, but its very entity is bodhicitta. Place the mind on that. Place the mind on that bliss. Mental bliss.
hoya da tu yune su semna ko lugna tindege 외우란신 신변기 로덥 첨부 지여 tenje 매바시 이지치 뒤네 뒤스 첨바시도나네 야고 요레스로
Normally then, if one can understand the clear nature of mind within the body is in the nature of courage, the thought to benefit others, to stabilize that mind, it is good.
티니마다고 쇼베 굴론제디오 두스타스 셈데 데 신변기 심지여 템푸 따다체나 즉 두저 가람진에 배 수수수 하고 그래 셈니 데스 주어두고요 어디 나세야 데스 뇽두고요 하고 그래 지금은 나녜녜녜녜녜녜녜녜녜녜녜녜녜 데스 신변기 셈 망보 따는데네 수수수 대저 망고제라 디 라야 데데스 뉴르도 그랬어. 얘라 되네 하고 그랬어.
So if one motivates in the morning with that concern for others' welfare, bodhicitta, then over a sustained period of time, clinging to I all the time becomes less. And secondly, thoughts of others become more. One starts to recognize.
지상 따다리 저 둔다들 조디 아니 셈디 시was 강에 된데 주디 셈 시와 내가 치투비하다 아니 주제나 삼다야 디나네 갑디다 조디 아니 셈이와 셈잉도디 아니 다지 남도 제스 만도와시야 수수 남도 제스 돼야도는 다디 차와 마한타는 지고요로 차와 용다야가 심 란지부게 돈다시 차와 든지스도 다지 셈잉야게 유조 그래서는 안에 산주다만 다야 데모다만다 안 미가시 계자 jonjanja shenyi midin dewa dinde thuinde ne ta keja yaga da ji shemi dues laur khodla 그래서 가데나 자 네그리 잔자 신이시도 안처럼 되데 바드 지 잡샤다 바드 포지티브 레지면 되다
And next week, the coming week, it would be good to see if one can stay with mental peace, keep that stability of mind. Secondly, to look at the causes and conditions behind the emotions coming up. Thirdly, what is the method for not allowing the mind to be distracted, having these inappropriate thoughts we mentioned, mental constructs, not follow them? Well, oftentimes we'll find that it's because we are wanting too much, desirous attachment, or distracted by the news or movies, or even being around people that talk about only negative things. So it might be good to confront that person and say, can't you talk about something positive for once?
You can say, please. You can use please. Yeah, just 디레도 안저 셈디 가서 그래. 단대 템포 타고로 매우 인자 람산 요로다와.
It's true, isn't it? Our minds are not so stable, so they change so easily.
For me, at monastery, very good training. Live with a lots of monks together. Yeah, first few days, and a little bit hard to sleeping, you know. One room we have seven monks, and one monk he has very funny character, you know. He has everyone sleeping, he wake up. Everyone wake up, he's sleeping. But we nobody making rules, just three, you know. And then it's funny, you know. Then you try to, for example, we need lots of memorize, you know. Morning 4 o'clock get up, you know, memorize. Everyone get up, and everyone blah 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 blah. Very hard to concentration here, you know. Blah blah blah, you know. And then we think, you know, looking, and 1 hour gone, then they're gone, then we need to go to prayer, you know, 1 hour finish. Therefore, next time, don't care, I will put here. This is very good benefit for me, you know, what does matter for me, people moving, baby cry, and, you know, people talking, or some people breathing like that, doesn't matter, you know. Doesn't matter. This is huge benefit. Therefore, you have surround people being nosy. You need to appreciate. Okay. Good teacher. Of course, this is because if you're thinking, I want to come by doing meditation retreat. Very quiet, no sound, You still breathing sound is big, and bird sound, wind sound. You never ever have like this quiet place. Or you want to, the music or news they have some special soundproof, Maybe you can make your meditation place soundproof. So then, we have one monk. We had one monk. He been there retreat. We built him retreat hard. Monk. He wanted to stay there 2 years. We don't have hard. We very build emergency retreat house for him, working very hard. And he stayed there 2 months, and he disappeared. He keep late. They had big noise because the motorway got a helicopter, the airplane back there, the airplane coming, The airplane sound is his disturbing his meditation. 2 years, 2 months. he 2 years plane stayed there, 2 months. This is very hard to without sound. You can't find. You need dealing with this, There's no problem, Otherwise, he went ordered by someone built very working very hard. Nearly more than 1 year they're working very hard. We have 2 volunteers, very nice two young men. And they went having almost carry, the building stuff carry on the mountain. They built very one family, they be sponsor for him. He already built the house hard. 3 months later, he disappeared. Maybe they lost bad sound. If you do like that, place doesn't have you, better to accept, try to say, keep your mind peace here. No, just matter the sound, 제단다 다리 딘다디 조케 지슈디 아니 딘데라 동년치도 같이로 다다만다 수수yen 토보도 야랑 파용 상상랑 네 포버딘데 슈다면 간 다다 뮤직 딘데 다나 자서 못 알아 셰딘데 셰만 못 다나 디 자서 못 알아
Yeah.
가시 셰직디 이만 인제 셰다 나디 자서 그래.
So the coming week, being aware of just being able to put up with certain types of sounds, isn't it? Just watching that. Sometimes living with friends and they get up early, they make noise with the cups. If they play the same music all the time, it's quite difficult, isn't it? That's not easy.
We had one friend last week. I went to the dinner their place. He's working some company. And he said, some people morning 8 to 5, one song, all day. He coming back home. Today he is hearing this music. This is very hard, isn't it? This is not easy. You were not thinking other people. They therefore need a little bit of thinking other people more important. What did about that? Simni number year me, new mochi with Tananis. That sim yin did that, and the same Jing a government, ding a government singing did that, by me see she was near a couple of shoes,
What comes as an obstacle to mental peace is if you follow the distraction and fixate on it. Oh, I don't like this, I like that. That becomes an obstacle to mental peace. Yeah, but if you understand, a little bit weight, it's impermanent, then it will dissolve.
당고 남도 멤버제 당고 수수 준 도자든데 요나로 하고 버체 곰시 도자든데 요나 하고 버체 셰버체 뭐 수수 신금면은 수수 저거들서 당에 곰시 도자든데 노게서 지나는 말 랍시 하세요 대하고 여다는
So this week, being aware through breathing exercise of your mental constructs, your discursive thoughts, just being aware of them. But also, if you have certain habits that are ingrained, bad habits, being aware of them. And if you can't recognize them, ask a friend. Do I have any bad habits?
Didn't have you better say you had this though, you had this. No. Usually they're not talking. Next time you give opportunity, you know. Then you need okay. Then you at that time you can use only one word. Use only then, you know, nothing. Your friend say you had this then, you had this then, you had this then, you had this then. Okay, then finish. Don't say don't say like that. Then then finish. Otherwise they're making you argue. Next week you come, okay, Sheila, you making me, my friend, we're big fighting. I already give you methods, okay, don't nothing say one word, except only then, you know. If you use another word, I don't want the responsibility. If you use then, you have all of the people come here. I can have you. Yeah. Then is a very powerful word. Then, let's argue. You better say, you become lazy. You say, then, you don't cook. Then, you don't wash. Then, then. Finish. No argue, you know. This is one method. Okay. 나는 당저 세부 차송하려. 다곰 주제는 곰 야오다. 곰 야오는 곰 야도 곰시스 주제 쇼베자 되면은 인공자 건다수 깔래 카연데 비딩에서 세스 카가라데 데나 야고에 남사 두바야 당 해베드 거야 당 컴퓨터 거야 많이 붙여 데스 찾으세요 데스 말래
Yeah. I hope everything's clear then. One should cultivate a time to meditate so that it becomes a habit. Best you can do it in the morning, if not afternoon. And then, if not, then coming home in the evening, don't put on the TV or the iPad straight away. Allow yourself some time to just relax and meditate a bit.
이제 당저 드네 건다 단전한 정도 상마다 되게 용다 셔드리로 아니 수수 쇼베네 건다서 따제 체제로 다 드링에 내가 너도 가르 제와데 하고 하지 산이네가 지금의 스켈렌체 한 수수 곰자 밀펜토야 내가 야고든지 체노 다 드링든데 야고 체선 아니 드즈베 밀래야 가와곰 산이네 들레 망아 치기니서 켈렌체 어두스 조이나 아니 쇼베네 건다서 공도
As we normally mention, the meditation from morning until night, and in the evening, checking one's day, how was it? Were there mistakes? If there were, recognizing them and making the commitment not to recommit those. And if things have gone well, you've helped others, done meditations, recognizing that and rejoicing, and then making the resolve to do more the next day. That would be the method from morning till night.
다 진행 안 하죠. 다 겨와 지수직 제가라 곰잡게 시게 주 상무치는 당 하나서 겨와사의 고득친이의 상물로 원래 겨여를 인주디 겨와디다 양어와 친구와 계지슈 점블링 시디 영야 타바디 유그린당 러시아마디 간조조 봐. 당한저 치트비야 단다 데레. 데미슈당 한저 치라시라 발발시엔 디지털러로.
Yeah.
Malamjo. Ana ngone chiya de na, ani su pesha shindi jo ro. Pesha shindi jo, tulo shindi jo. Ya mena pa do, pe volunteer do, pa. Timeshi de bala mango shin pendo yo man chi kan tu thola ro. Do che. Ani de pa ma de jo ni nyu ma shin. Mi mango dungwe do ro.
Yeah.
Ma la de tu yo char da ngone shin na, ta tang do je bu da hong pe. ngone tu yo char da, ngone shin na, ta yine da kan shin. An la wa de ne rim de da ting sa de mi mango la kang ye shib ji tek da da ro. Zamling ko ran. Da ne rim de jen shin da. 변조 그 강의 변조 강의 때도 찹식 강의 때 찹식 강의 때도 미만 강의 때 배도 스코어 좀 찍을지 때네 담블링데 배 가스골로 툭지 돼도 도서 파시야당 하게 지셔디 아니 고제도서 줄을 참바단 산주기 셈데 게토나 아니 용거로 와 고제도서 강에 배 아이빈 유 로스 캔야 삼단다 강에 저야 요마다 요 가두이네 먼저 배 창물로 대화되어 지고임에 삼로시 레비나 아니 고제도 zorlarwa political leader do zo ani kangi de chungdo ora na zo zabilin kangi mo mi sunjore do ro mi sewe kangi halewa mangore do 세상 어두즈 시야당 네 상매 줄이야다 지 semba sambu ge to show sangwa melon che nge de ma domba tsikaji stenro.
The last hour and a half we have been together, we have created virtues, good spiritual energy. So we need to dedicate those, collect them together. The fact that you have put effort to come, we have meditated, listened. We dedicate all of that for peace in the world. Well, then there is some difficulty with Russia and Ukraine. Why do all this talk if we cannot dedicate and pray for them? What's the point then? So if you can make donations for their food and well-being, well and good, or if you want to go there and helping directly. But in short, a lot of people are suffering out of this situation. So we should affect our prayers to them. And then, the COVID thing has created difficulties all over this world because it creates the condition of difficult economy and difficult politics, and then the people suffer. This seems to have been the condition for a lot of people being upset. Now, if the leaders had the attitude of bodhicitta, or concern for others' welfare, not the attitude of I win, you lose, it would be so much better in the context of our human situation. So pray for that those leaders have that. But in short, may all beings produce in their minds the kind heart of concern for others. We will dedicate like that.
Sonamdi tamjesi fai gombandu shi kyunju twadene kadana dan chibela sibe zole do ora sho gewadi nyudu da lama sanje do do chijama ti zala go ora sho chanze odan chi shagoda jisu yuran go shi so gewajun se da ji ji sama tanje zo be chen ju chen bo chuji je wo zongga we chuzi namba pe 개긴 체마시와다 튕제 말을 차와쇼 다다 신규도 선단데 선일라네 겨와자자도 와인데 뭐여러 많이 다다 신규도 선단데 선일라네 겨와라선도 와인데 뭐여러 뭐죠 제 chanjo 순조는 뭐지 마제바나니 유지 제와 냠바면 권내 권대 배워라쇼